Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something pretty common for English learners, that whole translating in your head habit.
Yeah, it's definitely a phase many learners go through, and it makes sense at first, but...
But it can slow you down
Right.
and maybe make you feel less, confident.
Absolutely. You start by mapping English onto your own language. That's natural.
Sure.
But the goal, the real fluency boost, comes when you can just think the thought directly in English.
Exactly. Connect the idea straight to the English word. That's what we're aiming for.
That's the sweet spot.
So our mission today is to pull out some really practical tips to help you make that shift.
Okay.
We've been looking at a great YouTube video. It's from the Speak English with Tiffany channel.
Oh, yeah, I know that channel.
It's called Stop Translating in Your Head, Tips for Thinking in English.
Good source. Lots of actionable advice there.
Definitely. So this is our deep dive into those tips. We want to find the key things you can actually do to start thinking more directly in English.
It's kind of like rewiring things slightly, strengthening those direct pathways in your brain.
Yeah, exactly. So English becomes more automatic for thinking, at least in certain situations.
Let's get into it then.
Okay, first up, the video really hammers home this idea. Surround yourself with English.
Right, immersion. It's a classic piece of advice for a reason.
We all know exposure helps, but this seems more, intentional.
Yeah.
Creating an environment.
Think about it. Your brain's always soaking things up from what's around it. So if you deliberately fill your surroundings with English movies, music, reading materials, you're feeding your brain English patterns constantly.
Kind of passively absorbing it.
Yeah, a lot of it is implicit learning. It just starts to seep in.
And I loved that story in the video about this student in South Korea.
Oh, the one with amazing English who'd never lived abroad.
Yes. That really shows it's possible, doesn't it?
It's a fantastic example. It proves it's not just about location, location, location.
Right.
It's about the active effort you put in to bring English into your daily life, whatever your situation.
This student was apparently just consuming tons of English movies, YouTube, podcasts.
See? Totally doable. You can create your own English bubble wherever you are.
It just takes that conscious choice, I guess, like choosing the English movie over the dubbed one.
Exactly. It might feel harder at first, but your brain adapts. It gets more comfortable operating in English.
Okay, great starting point. Let's look at tip number 2. Speak out loud.
Ah, yes. Talking to yourself.
Which, I admit, can feel a little weird at first.
It can. But honestly, it's such a powerful technique.
Why is that?
Well, when you actually say your thoughts out loud in English, even if no one's listening, you force your brain to find the words and string them together, right then and there.
Like activating the language actively, not just passively receiving it.
Precisely.
The video suggests things like describing your room, or thinking of the English word for something you see, or just narrating what you're doing.
All great examples. What that does is forge a stronger, more direct link between the thought and the spoken English.
Instead of thought native language, translate in English.
Exactly. You cut out that middle translation step. You practice thinking and speaking in English almost simultaneously.
And the video mentions, maybe don't do this loudly on the train.
Haha, probably good advice.
Find a private space. But it also stressed that it's not just saying hello. It's about trying to voice your actual thoughts confidently.
That confidence part is huge. Practicing like this, even alone, builds your belief that you can express yourself in English.
And that shows, right? The video linked it to posture, how you carry yourself.
It often does. That internal confidence radiates outwards.
Okay, tip 3 goes in a different direction. Use images.
Visual learning. This is about connecting English words directly to pictures or concepts, not just to their translation in your own language.
So instead of cat equals gato or chat or whatever.
Right. Cat equals a mental picture of a furry, four-legged creature that meows.
Creating that direct visual link.
Exactly. It helps bypass translation entirely for those words.
The video suggested using actual photos, maybe making flashcards with pictures instead of translation.
Yeah, very practical. And effective.
I like the anecdote about the teacher using images with soldiers in South Korea. Apparently they found it really effective and fun too.
Makes sense. Visuals often engage a different part of the brain. It can make learning feel less like work and more, engaging.
And stick better, maybe.
Often, yes. Neurologically, those direct word-image connections can become really strong and fast. You see the word, the image pops up, no translation needed.
So you're building like a visual dictionary in your head for English.
That's a great way to put it. New words get tied directly to images and ideas.
Cool. Okay, tip number 4 brings it back to daily life. Think in English during everyday activities.
This is about actively applying that English thinking skill, even in small ways, throughout your day.
Making a conscious effort while you're just doing stuff.
Exactly. While you're cooking, driving, washing dishes, try to narrate it internally in English.
The video mentioned describing the steps of cooking or thinking, okay, I need to turn left here in English while driving.
Mm-hmm.
And the host shared a personal story, actually, about learning Korean and mentally narrating taxi rides. The driver's turning right. We are going past the big building. That sort of thing.
That is a perfect illustration. Doing that consistently forces you to form simple English sentences about what's happening right now.
Low pressure practice.
Very low pressure. It's just you and your thoughts. No performance anxiety.
Little mental English workouts scattered through the day.
And those little workouts add up. Over time, your internal monologue naturally starts shifting towards English in more situations.
Okay, I like that. Now, tip 5 touches on something important.
Okay.
Practice thinking in English during quiet moments.
Yes, using calm, relaxed times.
Which really resonated because, let's face it, a lot of learners associate trying to speak or think in English with feeling, well, stressed or anxious.
Totally. The video points out how that nervousness can make your mind just go blank.
Right.
So this tip is about deliberately breaking that association. You consciously link calmness and relaxation with the act of thinking in English.
So when you're just chilling, maybe lying down or sitting quietly, instead of letting your mind wander in your native language.
You consciously switch to English. Think about your day, your friends, what you need to do tomorrow. Describe people or situations in your head, all in English.
While you're feeling calm.
Exactly. You're creating a positive pathway, training your brain. Thinking in English, relaxed and okay.
It's almost like emotional regulation training for language learning.
Kind of. And the video suggests this helps you stay more cool, calm, and collected, as they put it, when you actually do need to speak English later.
Because you've practiced the thinking part without the stress.
You've built a foundation of calm confidence with English thought.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay, tip 6 comes with a bit of a warning. Avoid using translation apps too much.
The double-edged sword of technology.
They're helpful, obviously, but you could lean on them too heavily.
They absolutely can be useful, especially early on. But constant reliance can definitely stunt your growth in thinking directly in English.
You don't build the muscle yourself if the app does all the lifting.
Pretty much. You need to practice retrieving words and figuring out how to express things yourself.
The video had a good example of a student who blanked on a word, but instead of grabbing her phone, she, talked around it.
Yeah.
Found another way to explain what she meant using words she did know.
And that's the crucial skill. That's thinking in English. It's problem solving within the language.
It forces you to use your existing vocabulary creatively.
Absolutely. It's far more valuable in the long run than just instantly getting the perfect translated word.
So the advice is, try to find an English workaround first.
Yep.
Look up the specific word later if you still need it.
Exactly. Build that mental agility. Focus on communicating the idea, not just translating words.
Right. Tip 7 follows nicely from that. Use context clues.
Don't panic when you hit a word you don't know.
Yeah, don't let it throw you off track. Often, you can figure out the gist anyway.
Your brain is surprisingly good at filling in gaps based on the surrounding information. The context.
The video reminded us to stay calm, that cool, calm, and collected thing again, and just try to infer the meaning from how the word is used.
When you do that, you're actively thinking within English. You're not immediately jumping out to translate. You're trying to solve the puzzle using the English clues you have.
It's what native speakers often do unconsciously when they encounter a new word, isn't it?
Pretty much. You absorb the meaning from the flow rather than stopping dead for a definition.
So it helps break that reliance on constant translation and builds more intuitive understanding.
Precisely.
Okay, tip number 8 suggests a more structured practice. Keep a journal.
In English, of course.
Right. A great way to consistently practice thinking and writing in English.
It provides a safe space. No judgment, just you and the page, exploring your thoughts in English.
The video suggested writing about anything, really your day, your feelings, opinions, experiences.
And it doesn't have to be pages and pages.
No, they stressed it doesn't need to be long. The key is the habit, doing it regularly.
And the act of writing itself forces a certain kind of thinking. You have to organize your thoughts, structure sentences.
It's more deliberate than just thinking or even speaking sometimes.
It is. You focus more on word choice, grammar, how ideas connect. It really solidifies your ability to construct thoughts in English.
Plus, bonus, You're improving your writing skills simultaneously.
Two birds, one stone. Even just a few sentences regularly can make a real difference over time.
Good one. Tip 9 involved other people. Engage in conversations with native English speakers.
This can be the scary one for some learners.
Definitely. But it's incredibly valuable for real-time practice.
Nothing quite beats interacting live. It forces you to think and respond in English on the spot. Huge for fluency and, well, thinking speed.
The video offered some encouragement, reminding listeners that most native speakers are actually quite nice and understanding.
Generally true. People are often happy to help someone practice.
And if face-to-face isn't easy, it suggested online forums or communities.
Good alternative. The key is that real interaction. You hear natural speech, slang, intonation, things you miss in textbooks.
And it builds confidence, right? When you manage to have a conversation, even a simple one.
Massive confidence booster. You realize, hey, I can do this. I can communicate.
I liked the suggestion to maybe start with typing conversations online.
Yeah, that's smart. It's still real-time interaction, but slightly less pressure than speaking. Gives you a moment longer to think and type.
Kind of a stepping stone to spoken chats. Helps build that mental quickness.
Exactly. Gets you used to formulating responses in English relatively quickly.
All right, last tip. Number 10, and it's a crucial one. Be patient and persistent.
Oh, absolutely essential. This isn't an overnight switch.
Learning a language, changing deep-seated habits like mental translation, it takes time and effort.
It's a journey, like the video says. There will be good days and bad days, days you feel stuck.
The key is not to get discouraged by those tough moments. Be kind to yourself.
Keep putting in the practice, using these tips.
And trust that it will get easier over time. I love the phrase they used, practice makes progress.
Perfect. Not practice makes perfect, but progress.
Yeah.
Every little bit of effort counts. Each time you consciously try to think in English, you're strengthening those pathways, making it a bit easier for next time.
It's about consistency and keeping that positive mindset. Learning a language is amazing after all.
It really is.
So that's the core 10 tips from the Speak English with Tefani video. Really solid advice.
Definitely.
Now, we also pulled out a little bonus insight, kind of a fascinating story the host shared about thinking itself.
Yeah, this was more anecdotal, touching on maybe some less obvious parts of communication.
It was quite interesting. She described being in a class in South Korea, and she and a Korean female student seemed to just understand each other's thoughts without speaking.
Right, and it apparently baffled a male student who was watching.
Yeah. It highlights that maybe there's more to communication than just words, that nonverbal understanding, that intuition.
It's a reminder that thinking and understanding aren't always purely linear or verbal processes.
For sure. And she brought in a bit of humor, too, mentioning that, stereotypical idea of women sometimes expecting men to just know what they're thinking.
Yeah, that came up.
And she observed that maybe women often win mental games because of this sort of intuitive connection.
It's a lighthearted take, but it does point to the interesting complexities in how we connect and understand each other, sometimes beyond language.
She even shared a personal story about her college best friend, how they could have whole conversations almost silently.
It's definitely food for thought about the different layers of thinking and communication.
Yeah, not just internal monologue, but maybe shared understanding, too.
Interesting stuff.
So, wrapping up this deep dive then, the big takeaway really is that making that switch, going from translating everything to actually thinking in English, it's totally possible.
It is. It just takes that consistent effort. Using strategies like the ones we've discussed, you have to be willing to try them out.
By actively using these tips, immersing yourself, speaking aloud, using images, thinking during daily tasks, staying calm, using context, journaling, talking to people, and being patient.
You gradually retrain your brain. You build those direct English pathways.
And that leads to more fluency, more confidence. It feels more natural.
Absolutely.
So here's a final thought for you listening. Which one of these tips feels like the easiest one for you to start with? Is there one you could try? Maybe even today. Just consider how actively trying to think in English, even just for a few minutes here and there, might actually shift your whole learning experience, maybe even how you interact with the world.
Definitely something to reflect on.
Thanks for exploring this with us today.